Hello, hello. Welcome to tonight's team call. I'm so excited that you are here with me. Sorry, I lost the team call slides there for a hot second. It is December 20th, which is insane. 2 weeks left of this year. And I don't know about you, but I'm excited. So that reel that's going around, I don't know if you've seen it, but it's a reel for every month, right? And so it literally tells you the month, and you're supposed to put pictures or videos or whatever with it. And y'all know I've had a hard year. It's been a messy, incredibly weird year, right? But as I'm going through all of my pictures, looking at what this past year has been, wow. Have you stopped and looked back at the pictures you've taken? Because even though I've had a really hard year and I've faced some really hard things, I have had one of the most freeing years I ever have. I stepped into my light, into my purpose, into slowing down instead of hustling my face off. And as I look back at those pictures, I see the freedom, right? I've created freedom in the past 7 years. There's no secret there. I've created some freedom in my damn life in all sorts of ways. Mentally free, wellness free, financially free. But now we're getting into the time freedom, into the freedom of expectations, right? And seeing those pictures, I'm like, I'm literally creating the life of my dream. I'm not there yet, right? We're still working on that. Everybody's working on that. But that's why we're having this conversation today. Because tonight we're going to talk about vision and goals. And I just want you, before we start thinking about what we haven't accomplished, where we haven't been, I want you to think about what you have done, right? 2021 may have been hard for you. Maybe you're still recovering from, I don't even know what year COVID hit. 2019? When did that even happen? I don't know. It seems like it's been forever, right? And you guys know I'm not good at math anyways. But really, it feels like it's been going on forever. Instead of dwelling on everything that we've lost or all the hard stuff we've gone through, I want you to take time to go back and look at all the good that has come your way, all the changes that you have made in every aspect of your life, right? Not just as a whole, because if we look at it as a whole, sometimes we can be like, man, that's a shit sandwich. But when you break it down and when you actually look at it, you're like, gosh, I have changed. And that's what I want for you. So tonight's team call actually stemmed from a conversation that I had with another coach. And in it, she was talking to me. She said, hey, here's my goals. We check them out. Let me know what you think. Let me know if these are actually attainable. And first things first, before we even dive into that, I want to remind you and let you know that anything that is on your heart is there for a reason. So it's absolutely possible, right? Maybe not in the time frame that you make it, right? If you think that you're going to be a millionaire tomorrow, that's not possible, right? But you could be a millionaire in a year, 2 years, 3 years. Absolutely you can. Depends on how hard you work, right? So any goal that you set, it's absolutely attainable. Any vision you have for your future, 100% possible. But how we get there, that in between that nobody wants to look at, that's what really matters. Okay. So before we really dive in and start dissecting, because I want you to actually think through this as we go tonight, we need to talk about something kind of like the elephant in the room here, like the difference between vision and goals, right? Can you guys see that? Okay. I hope you can. Whoa. We're really partying there. The difference between visions and goals, because we can say, I have this vision or I have this goal, and I don't know. And maybe it's just me. I'm a very logical thinker, and I love to mastermind, and I love to ask questions. So I want this to be a very much ask yourself these questions kind of call. What to you is the difference between a vision and a goal? And I want you to truly think about that right now, right? Because we hear these words all the time, especially in the area of life where we're in, right? Like we're growing women, we are adults, we're getting out of our teenage years and into our actual life and what's to come. Do you know the difference between vision and goals? When you hear those words, what comes to your mind? And please blow up the chat here. I want to know what is on your heart, what's on your mind, what do you think, how does it make you feel? Because I know when I asked my husband, he kind of has a panic attack, like dream. What do you mean? I don't know how to dream. Anybody else been there, done that, feel that way, right? Like, but I don't know what to work towards. So when we get into that mindset where we don't know where we're going, we don't know what's possible, we don't know what opportunities are out there, we don't know if we should be thinking of something different, or if the life that we have right now is just good enough, it's really easy to just sit back and say, like, oh, my goal is to be patient. My goal is to be happy. My goal is to be, we set these unmeasurable goals, and it gets us stuck somewhere between vision and goals to where we're feeling like we're not enough. So if this is you, please drop it in the chat, raise your hand, give me a yes. But do you ever feel right now in this place, it could be right now, it could be before in the past, it could be whenever, do you ever feel like you're totally stuck? Like you work so freaking hard, but for some reason you're not fulfilled. You're still thinking like, but okay, when's the good, let's skip to the good part, right? Like just like the real, let's skip to the good part. You don't know what to work towards. You're not sure if those goals that you write down every single day in your journal are actually attainable. Maybe you're just lost or confused. Maybe you are working your ass off and you are doing everything. You're doing the workouts, you're doing the mindset work, you're doing, all this vision, the affirmations, all these things that you're supposed to do. But for some reason, there's no change actually happening, right? Is that you? Anybody else ever feel that way? Ever? Don't worry, you're not alone. Because right now, and you probably have heard this like 1,000,001 times, and maybe you want to punch me in the throat right now, because your reality is a result of your action, right? But then wait, hold on. I just made that whole laundry list of not feeling good enough. What do you mean? I'm working my ass off. What do you mean? I'm showing up every day for myself, right? You can't tell me that my life is hard right now because of something I did. But the truth is, yeah, that's what I'm telling you. And it's not because you're not taking big action. It's not because you're not making changes. It's not because you're not growing, because you are. Those are all very important, valid things. And I want to justify the fact that I know I see you. I see you showing up every single day. So don't think that I don't think you're taking action. What I'm simply saying is, if you have something in your life right now where you're like, this doesn't feel good, or, why is it not bigger, better, more beautiful, right? Oh, why do I feel stuck? Then I'm guessing that we have to ask ourselves different questions, right? The big question is, what action should you be taking? Because yes, you're taking big action, but are you taking the correct action? I think we often think that in order to take it to the next level, in order to get where we need to be, that we have to be struggling. Right? The struggle is required. We must be in pain. We must be punishing ourselves. We must be shaming ourselves. All of these things, right? If we aren't working hard, if we aren't working our asses to death, if we can't get one more fingernail, right? Then we can't be doing enough. That's not okay. Like, I have to work harder. Let me let you in on a little secret that I've learned this past year, as I just shared, right? Looking through these pictures, you can work hard and you can still rest. And you can dream really fucking big and still be totally obsessed with the life that you have right now in this moment. I want to say that again. You can work really, really hard and still rest. Take lots of rest and slow down a whole lot. And you can dream very, very big and want so much more for your family, but still live in this moment right here. Still celebrate what you're doing today. I actually think that's kind of like the whole point. So anyways, let's dig into the actual definition. Vision. What is vision? It's the ability to think about or plan the future with imagination or wisdom. I don't know where they come up with wisdom, but makes sense, right? The ability to think about or plan your future with your imagination. I know not too long ago, 5 years ago, I had this crazy vision for my life, a vision where my husband would be home every evening and he would be home every weekend, and we would be able to go on vacations together. And I know that's crazy for a lot of people because, I mean, people normally have their husbands home if they're married, right? But not me. Mine was working 40 plus hours a week. Mine was never home. So my vision then was to simply create freedom for my family. And we did that. And now I have him here. But as I look towards the future, I ask myself, like, well, I love the life that I'm living. I'm super comfortable. I'm okay right here, right? But if I could imagine something more, if I could imagine something bigger, what would that be for me? If I could put on my thinking cap, right? Like make up the dream with no rules, no money holding me back, no conditions. What would that future look like for me? And it's that second picture, right? We would be loaded up in our camper, traveling all the places, doing all the things, visiting, exploring, like just spending that time together. And so when you think about vision, I want you to think right now, do you have a vision for what you want in your future? Like, what's that imagination, the thing that you picture, right? Do you have a vision for where you're going or what you want to accomplish? And these are all kind of rhetorical. If you do have answers, definitely leave them in the chat. But I'm bringing you this call tonight because for the next 2 weeks, I really want you to dig into this. And I really want you to ask yourself these questions because I've been doing this for 2 weeks now, where I've been asking myself these questions, 2 months, if we're being honest, where I've been asking myself these questions. Where do I want to be a year from now? If nothing was holding me back, what would my life look like? Because my life would look like we're living on the road. But right now, that's not a reality. And if I was to set a deadline, like, okay, here's when we're going to do that, that would be really scary, right? Because I'm not there yet. So no rules, no expectations, no deadlines, no money's not an issue, time is not an issue. None of that is an issue. What is that plan, that imagination, that dream, the picture you could paint for your family, for you, for your spouse, for your future spouse, for your job, whatever? What is that vision that you have? Okay. So then let's talk about goals, because goals are different than vision, right? Goals, the definition is the result or achievement toward which effort is directed. So goals are the result or achievement. So I don't know if you read it the same way that I do. I'm guessing there's some people who do not. Because as I was having these conversations and asking these questions, I realized that I think about this a little bit different. And that's why I want to bring it to you, because I want to help you think outside the box if you don't think like me, right? I think it's very important, because how many people think about that vision and you tell yourself like, oh yeah, that's my goal. That's where I want to be, right? We say that our vision is our goal. Has anybody ever done that? Because I have. I totally have. But sometimes if we're setting our goals on unmeasurable things, we get stuck in this crazy vicious cycle, right? We set a goal based on how we're feeling. So right now, I'm feeling like I want to get up and I want to travel the world, and I feel good and I love my family and I want to spend every day with them and I'm so excited, right? But then tomorrow, my husband is a total douchebag. My kids make me cry. They're constantly screaming and fighting, and it's the worst day ever. And I feel so defeated. Trust me, sister, I ain't working for that vision when they're treating me that way, right? So then that leads to my negative vibes, my terrible energy, keeping me from taking action. Why the heck would I work for something when my husband clearly told me he doesn't want to do that? Why would I want to spend every day with my family when they just treat me like crap and don't appreciate me, right? And then I tell myself, well, it's not worth it. I didn't take action today. I don't even need to take action tomorrow. I just suck, right? And then we get back to the next morning when we write out our 5 goals or vision or whatever, like our 5 things in our journal. And we're like, I am a patient mom. I am a loving wife. I will travel the world for a year, right? But yesterday, if I base it off of yesterday, I'm like, what the fuck? Why am I even writing this down? I'm not a patient mom. I was a terrible mom yesterday. Are you kidding me? I yelled at my husband. We haven't had sex in a week, right? Like, we come back to how we're living currently, because our initial goals, the things that we write down every single morning, are simply based on a feeling. Do you ever make goals based on feelings. And then when you're not feeling good, you realize that you don't actually want to work towards that, right? Or when someone else discourages you, it's easy to blame them for stealing your energy or your fire or your happiness, right? We get stuck in this vicious cycle where we look at where we want to go for our future in a feeling. Can I tell you one thing? Feelings are fleeting. They're never going to stay the same. Emotions change daily. So when you're setting your goals, as we come to the end of this year, I really want you to remember that. You cannot base your goals on a feeling, because every day you're going to feel different. You have to be willing to show up even on those bad days, right? So let's get unstuck together. What is an actual goal? Because I really, really, really want to specify the difference between your vision, that imaginary life that you have a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, right? And a goal. Goals are measurable. We have measurable benchmarks, easy things that we could literally check off the box to be like, okay, I'm on the road. Yes, I've got this. Goals have clear, actionable steps. You know what it takes every single day, because tell me, raise your hand if you're that person who puts, I am a patient mom as my daily goal. I am a loving wife as my daily goal, or something similar, right? Can you tell me, what does it take? Like, what are your action steps that you're taking today in order to do that? And what happens when your husband's a total douchebag? And what happens when your kids just scream and fight all day? Like, what are those actionable steps? What are the steps that you're taking, right? And listen, I'm not here to tear you down. I'm here to clean up this fog. It's got to be clear, okay? I want you to be a patient mom, and I want you to have an exceptional marriage. But the only way we're going to get there is if we can knock this shit out of the way and we can actually figure out what the action steps to create that life that you want to live, okay? I want you to be so obsessed with your life, but in order to be so obsessed with your life, we have to get really, really clear on what action we're taking in order to get there. So don't think that when I'm using these as examples that I don't think they are not worthy, or that I think that they're invalid. Hell no. I want you to have better goals so that you can be the mom you want to be. I want you to have a clear roadmap so that your marriage is so freaking exceptional. I want you to understand where you're going and the next step to take so that this business isn't hard, right? So do you know what those clear action steps are every single day towards your goals? A goal also has a defined deadline. You know when it's going to happen, and you know what it's going to take. You have measurable benchmarks, very clear daily action steps, and a defined finish line. You know when the deadline is, okay? So now, in order to reach that goal, your action creates the momentum that boosts your feelings. That compounds over time to bring that vision, remember that vision that you had, to reality. So if you're not taking action, right? Like you set your goals based on your feelings, which results in that vicious cycle of you're not taking action because you don't feel good, right? That's our vicious cycle. So we're not taking action, and it doesn't boost our feelings, which means our confidence is down the tank, and it doesn't allow us to take action the next day. However, when we take action, no matter how we're feeling, we fall in love with the process. We show up every single day because we know the action steps it takes to reach the goal. It boosts our confidence. It helps us feel like a badass. And that action consistency compounds over time. And then guess what? When you feel good, you treat your kids better. When you feel good, you treat your spouse better. When you feel good, you are happier. So wrap that up, right? When you take the action steps towards your goals, you are creating the vision that you want for your future. I hope that makes sense. Please tell me that that makes sense. Okay, so let's get clear real quick, right? Vision, we have vision over here. We have goals over here. Do we see the clear difference and definition in them? I'm going to pull up the chat and make sure exactly what it looks like. Okay. So I see some of these visions and goals. I want you to tell me, like now, if you have a chance in this chat, I want you to tell me, what is your big picture vision and what are actionable goals? One or two, doesn't have to be crazy, right? Like we're not totally masterminding right now. What is that big picture vision that you have? And maybe you don't know your big picture vision yet. That's okay too. It's okay. Calm down. It's all right. Just breathe. We're going to get there. What are a couple actionable steps that you could take every single day, no matter what your vision or goal is, that will help you move on to that next goal that you have? Because for me, my vision is to be on the road. My vision is to take my family full time in our camper, preferably a camper van. I don't know why he's barking. Camper van, and travel the world. I want to give back. Doing these hygiene kits is freaking incredible, because I get to see the impact that my family can make in one simple thing, right? But if we're on the road, if we're able to do this all the time, like how much bigger would that be? I'm going to mute myself and yell at the dog. Oh, or I'm going to stop screen sharing. Try this again. Okay. Anyways, on with the party. So, for an example, this was a great example and I wanted to share it with you. If you envision a life of financial freedom, right? You want to be financially free. If we set our goal as being financially free, whatever that looks like to you. For me, that means being able to travel whenever I want, being able to buy flowers for whoever I want, whenever I want. It means being able to help other people. It means having no debt, right? Like all of that, financially free, no stress, no anxiety over money. I think a lot of us have that same goal. But what, in order to reach that vision, right? That beautiful painted picture of money, like literally, you know, that picture of him throwing his money around. That's what we're picturing. That's the vision. What are the goals that it's going to take for us to get there, where we don't care if we just throw our money around instead of picking up quarters, right? There's actionable steps we can take towards that. Step one goal could be save money, right? The steps to save money, you can create a budget. You can get a piggy bank and start putting all your loose change in it. You can open a savings account. This save money is a goal. Those three things are action steps, right? So another way that we can reach that vision of financial freedom, our goal is don't spend money, right? Easy. Don't spend money. How can we not spend money? So the action steps to that, learning to say no when someone says, do you want to go out to eat? No, man, I don't have the money for that. Do you want to go do this? No, man, I don't have the money for that. You do have the money, but you are sticking to your goal of not spending, right? Big difference. Another action step that you could take to not spending, cut up the cards. You can just literally cut those puppies up, disconnect it from Amazon, unsubscribe from all the shit email that you get that tempts you, right? That's an action step that you can take towards that goal. No spend months or no spend weeks or no spend days, whatever those are. Action step towards the goal. And I know I have like 3 different examples, but I really, really want to help you create the difference, see the difference here, so that you know how you can set better goals so that you're not stuck in that vicious cycle. Maybe your goal is to earn more money, right? One of my big goals is in January to earn $5,500 in January alone, right? I want to earn more. So what are the action steps that I can take? I can sell shit around my house that I don't need. That's how I earn enough money to buy my challenge pack. I can babysit for people. I won't, but I could if I wanted to. I can make crafts. Like Jackie has started doing her little t-shirt thing and she is on fire. I love it, right? Find something that you're good at and do that. Or you could also lean into this business opportunity. Start slinging Beachbody on demand like it's confetti, right? Every Beachbody on demand that you sell, you're going to make some money, right? Every day pass that you sell, you're going to make some money. That's earning more every single day. All 3 of those goals have 3 or more action steps to them. I gave you 3 right here. that will result in that vision that you have for your life coming to fruition. You can do this for anything. If you envision a better marriage, want to do this one with me? If we envision a better marriage, what are the goals around it? For me, goals for my better marriage, more sex, date nights, not yelling at him, right? What are action steps that we can do to get there? It's for real. Like, my marriage is something that I have dug into for a long time. And I know every single year, those are different things that we have to touch on. And I will loudly share them with you because I think everyone needs to talk about this. I think everyone struggles with these things. We just don't want to say it, right? Maybe you envision being home with your kids. Maybe you envision being a six-figure earner. Maybe you envision, I don't know what you want, right? What are those goals that you can set that will help create that vision you want? You're not taking moves towards the vision every day. Yes, the action steps you take will eventually compound and result into that, but we're taking steps towards these goals. The goals added up create the vision. The action steps are the daily unsexy things you got to do. That's a sacrifice, man. Every single day, the things you're sacrificing to get to your goals that will eventually paint that picture of the life that you want to live. The secret sauce, you want to know what makes successful people successful? Write this down. You got to fall in love with the daily unsexy actions. You got to wave the bullshit flag and say, I'm done. I'm done making excuses. I'm done saying that I can't have this. I'm done making these lofty goals based on feelings and a vision that I can't get to because I'm not taking action, right? It means getting real with what it's going to take from you every single day. What is that future vision that you have for your life, for yourself, for your family, for your marriage, for your finances, whatever that may be? Then I want you to ask yourself again, what are the measurable benchmark goals that you can set that will result in movement towards your future? I don't know how to type, obviously, right? I want you to set benchmarkable goals with a clear, defined finish line, action steps so that you know what to take every single day. And then we're going to repeat them over and over and over and over and over again. Because the only way to get where you want to be is to show up for that every single day. The only way I was able to match my husband's income was every night after I put my kids to bed, I worked, I connected, I sent messages, I shared myself. Every day during nap time while I was breastfeeding my child, I connected, I sent messages, I checked in with other mamas. That's how I did it. I shared my life. I shared my journey. I shared me authentically. And I was a decent human being while doing it, right? That's all that it really takes. You showing up for you, knowing where you want to go, taking those action steps every single day so that you can create that future vision that you want. But the secret to all of that in the end is you have to be patient. You have to be willing to celebrate every small step you take. Because I know right now you're probably feeling like, Deidre, that's easy for you to say, easy for you to talk about because you've already done it, right? You've already matched your husband's income. You've already become a successful coach. You've already made this much money. You've already figured out how to be a more patient mom. You've already figured out whatever you guys want to say. It's easy for me to say because I've already done it. No, because guess what? My future goal and vision is still there, and I still have fears, and I still have to figure out what my action steps are, right? It may just look different because I've been through it. Sure, I'm here sharing with you, but I want to share with you so it's not as hard as it was for me. I don't want you to go through this alone. I want you to know that you have an incredible community right beside you. And I want to remind you that you are way farther along than you once were. Are you willing to celebrate that? Are you shouting that from the rooftops? Are you proud of the work that you're doing every single day, whether you have clear goals or vision or not, right? Because you're showing up and you're doing the work. So now, I will stop sharing and you guys can hop on here with questions, comments. If you want to brainstorm, set some actionable goals, we absolutely can.
I had the same conversation with my husband on the way home from Illinois this weekend. And it ended up with me bawling all over the place because that's just what I do. And because sometimes it's hard to even ask those questions because it's been a question that I've never asked before, like, where do you see us going next? And he's just like, I don't know. You're not helping. Because I don't know what the next steps for us are. And I'm like, I know like tangible things like getting a house, buying another car, doing this life stuff, and it's not anything grandiose. Like I'm like, what do you envision for the future with us? Vacations or like doing more things as a family. And he finally said to me, which I understand, doing something for someone else's goals is not really gonna make you show up as much. Like it's gotta mean something to me, But he's like, I want to go to the Dallas Cowboys Stadium in Dallas, Texas. I've always wanted to do it. I never have. I'm like, why haven't you? Well, it's just never happened. I'm like, but it can. It can happen. It could very well happen. Like there's planes, there's trains, there's cars, and there's this thing called the internet. You just get on there and just buy all the stuff. But I think he needs permission, to do something like that because he's never done anything like that before. He's never dreamed at that level of dreaming. And to do things like that, like without a worry, my action steps is to show up for my business every single day, even if I don't want to. And it is like having a shitty day today and running around like a chicken with a head cut off and literally being so worried about my son and figuring out all the things, running at work, getting all the medicines and everything. But knowing before I go to bed tonight, I have to log at least an hour of work, because if I don't, it's me going down the escalator, it's me giving up on that, because it really is like your action does breed confidence and it makes you love what you're doing. But action with like trust and heart and belief, and like what you said, like really just sitting back and like, are you actually proud of everything that you've done? And I have not sat back to be like, look at me, pat on the back. I'll say it, but like believing it deep down, no. I'm like, what's next? This isn't enough. Let's do more. And I think that's a good thing to have, like ambitions and things like that, but to be actually sit and be proud of what you're doing already is a huge thing. So I think where I'm stuck, struggling, is to figure out what is that bigger vision, what is that goal that I have set. Like, I don't know, looking into 2022, like I survived this year. I survived this last year and I'm still here. Like I'm still thriving. I'm like growing my business, and I've earned like 2 major trips that I've never earned before. Like it's amazing. And I've met new people, and I've gotten new people on my team, and there's new potential here. Like, but 2022, I want to thrive. Like and what does that look like? I don't know.
Emma's nursing, so don't mind us, but I think clarity, Amy, is huge. Like, because that's where I've been the last few months, is like, I don't actually know what I want, because I thought I knew what I want. And then my whole team fell apart. And then I was like, is this even real? Like, is this a scam that people said it was? Like, I second guessed all of it. Like, I really did. And then like, when I finally got back to it, I was like, okay, I know what I want again. I want those field trips. I want to be home with my kids. And then I had Emma, and I was like, I can't be home with my kids this much. Like, I'm literally going to murder one of them. Like, so I'm not even kidding. I'm sorry, don't turn me in. But You guys, like, it is freaking hard. And I'm like, okay, I don't actually want to be home with them every day, but I don't want to do pharmacy every day either. So I'm like, what do I actually want? Hold on, we lost the nipple. You're fine. So like for me, I've just been like not doing anything because I'm like, well, I know if I go to work right now, it sucks, but I'm not at my home and I'm not gonna murder my kids. And when I get home, I love them. So like this suckiness is comfortable. And that's where I've been sitting for a few months. And I don't want to be there because I don't want to be in sucky ever. So I think that's what I'm trying to do is just figure out the clarity of it and being not shaming myself about it because I can want to be home, but also want to leave for an hour or two a day. Like that's okay. So anyways, that's me just trying to think out loud and find clarity again.
I love that you bring up that clarity thing though, Kelsey, because I've been there, right? I mean, so many of you guys have been around and watched me go through this where we were, I mean, hell, we still are top of the company, went elite, all these things. And then slowly and surely, like everyone just started stepping away. And it was like that old lie came back of like, well, no one actually cares about you unless you're giving them something, right? And so it put me in that place where I was just kind of stuck in like, well, I'm making enough money, our family's fine, we get to go on vacations, I have my husband home, like I'm good, I'm comfortable, I don't, why bust my ass even more just to be rejected, right? And I found myself there and I didn't realize that I was there. It was my safe place until I started asking myself those questions, until I started pushing myself outside of that comfort zone and really sitting down, because I always dreamed of, obviously, of traveling the world. It's been my dream since I was 7. I wanted to work for Nat Geo because of it, right? But that's not my husband's dream. So part of me was like, well, I don't have that permission, right? Like, I don't want to live without him. I worked so hard to create a life with him. Why would I want to go without him when it's not something he wants? And so it was like this weird limbo of rejection, weird limbo of maybe I'm not a good enough leader, weird place of I want this future, but the person that I'm obsessed with and I want to live my life with doesn't want this future. So what does that look like? And if I asked myself the right questions, if I really dug into it, he only doesn't want that future because it's scary, right? Because we have to cover insurance, because we have to cover benefits, because he will have to step away from that societal mindset that's been instilled in him from a child, right? It's all fear. It's all fear if we really sit and talk about it. But it's asking the right questions and asking, what feels good to us? What do we want? The feelings, I think, are very important. The God whispers what we want are very important. But at the end of the day, it's just really sitting with yourself long enough to ask those questions. And I think that's at least where I found myself. I can't say that's everybody's, but that's for me. And it's so annoying that it's taken me this long, right? So annoying. But I've grown so much since the first fall of my team. And even through it, we're ending this year in the top 300 of the company. And we have lost our leaders, right? But here we are because of you. We are here. And we are probably the strongest community that we have had. And we have the most love, fucking more love than we've ever had before, if we're being real, right? No judgment, no hatred. It just feels clean and pure. I wouldn't have that if I wouldn't have gone through those hard places. Just asking different questions, I think, is what has worked for me. I'm still not there. Like, I'm reading vision books. I'm really diving into this because I don't know what that looks like. And something that was clear to me in the book that I was reading, Vision Driven Leader. I don't know if this is helpful for you at all, but I'm just going to keep talking. The Vision Driven Leader. I've always had really big goals and dreams for myself. And I think that's what attracts a lot of people to me. I'm not afraid to dream big, right? I'm really an audacious person. I really live out loud, right? Quietly, but dream out loud, I should say. but I've never had a vision for what I want for my team. That first vision that I had was like, we would be a team. Like, I just imagine vacations on the beach and having our kids together and backyard parties and like all of this stuff. I envisioned being able to spend time with incredible women who would mastermind and lift people up and be able to give to other people. And then when that was taken away, it was like, that took my permission on what to have for a dream in a team, because that put responsibility on other people's shoulders. But at the same time, on both of my visions, like whether it be my team or whether it be my life, it's not their job. It's not my husband's job. It's not my team's job, but I can count on other people. If that makes any sense at all. I don't know if it does.
And for me, like, you are very tactical. Like, I have big visions of not living in Illinois anymore and having a big home with a huge office that overlooks the backyard, that has the lake and the mountain views. I have that vision, but the steps to break it down and to go, okay, to get there, you got to do this, to do that, you got to do this, like on TikTok, but I'm like, I don't know what those steps are, other than I need to move out of Illinois and I need to have a lot more money than what I have. Like those are the steps that I have in my brain, and that doesn't really help me at all. So having you be able to help break it down into like actionable steps is super helpful, because my Enneagram 7 brain does not do that. like in the slightest. So yeah, all about teamwork.
Planning is a superpower of mine. I like geek out, obviously, and I could just like go on a whole tangent, but I won't. But I think I love that you brought that up, because like I said in the chat, I think it's hard when we have that big dream and vision, because it seems so far away. And if we say like, okay, every day do your BAT and one day you'll reach that vision, it's like, no, wait, no. I have to message 3 people and invite 2, and that's it. Like, I do a workout and then my dream's going to come true. That's too small. That's not enough. And so we just don't do anything, because that helps, right? It's like those little actionable steps are actually really fucking small. And a lot of the times, the actionable steps that we have to take, right? Like, even if I told you right now, Natalie, everything you had to do, you'd be like, that's good, because you don't want to say no and not spend money. And you don't want to, focus on the marriage or whatever it may be. I'm not saying like that's your thing, but for me, I don't want to sit down and have a conversation with my kid when I'm like, no, I'm moving further. But my goal is to be a patient mom. Those short-term sacrifices, those little action step sacrifices, are actually really freaking hard, and we would just rather avoid them.
In the Slight Edge, but I'm reading the Slight Edge, and he was saying that today, like, he had this big old successful company with Germany, and he was like, I didn't know exactly what was going to happen. And like, it was all these random ass events. Like, he asked a simple thing, like he just trained his people to ask, do you know anybody from Germany? Like, that's literally all he said. And like, it turned out some guy was mowing his grass and his neighbor, and he happened to ask him because he was trained, and he's like, it could have been raining. What if it would have been raining that day? It wouldn't have happened. So he was like going through all these tiny little steps that happen to make this thing super successful. And he's like, it's not because of the little things along the way. It's because you took the one step that seemed super stupid and simple in the beginning of just, hey, do you know anyone from Germany? And he's like, it created the success because I never gave up. And I was like, oh, like, just do something, Kelsey. It doesn't matter how you get there. Just do it and go. So that's what I thought of as soon as you were saying that. I'm like, yep, right on.
I think the thing is that we overcomplicate so much shit. Like, hi, that's been me forever. But I will tell you that just by me showing up in my business for the last year that I've been full-time doing this, just to speak business terms, I'm just now starting to see the snowball roll a little bit more, and it's just the little things that happen to me when I have people come to me asking for things and I'm not having to hustle to go to them. It really is a result of me showing up daily despite wanting to or not wanting to, and just showing up and being myself and really, living into that superpower of really loving to talk to people and being friends with people. And I still get caught up in the hustle. I'm not going to say that I don't. I still do. But when those little things come along, it is your God wink or the sign from the universe to say, hey, you're doing this right. Hey, you're doing something really incredible. Like, just by showing up and not reinventing the wheel and just doing the things that work, like, i.e. using the marketing plan. Hi, that's what I've been leaning on. I will 100% tell you that. I was talking to another coach on my team and she's like, how do you show up when your life is chaotic? I show up for this because this is the only thing I have control over. Literally, my action is the only thing I can control, and my attitude behind the action is the only thing I can control. It's a real, it might, and that is a lot less fluffy than what I normally am. Okay, I like fluff, I like words, I like pretty, I like all of the rainbows coming out your ass. Okay, but when it comes down to it, it really is showing up on the days that you don't want to. As I'm like, it's almost 8 o'clock and I need to do my Teamsy. It's fine.
I love it. It's so true though. I really hope that this call was super, super helpful for you. Just really to give you time before we hit January 1st to really ask yourself, right? Like, we have a whole new year ahead of us. What do you actually want out of this next year? Even if you get thrown a shit year, right? Like, how can it still be incredible? How can you still be working towards those goals? How can you still overcome every obstacle that's going to be thrown in your way? What do you even want? Where are you even going? What are you focusing on goal wise so that you know what action you can take so you have confidence instead of just like literally throwing spaghetti at the wall. So that's what I have today. I hope this was helpful. As always, check in the team page for replays. Next Monday, we will be having our vision party. I might open the room like 30 minutes early because I do have Bible study afterwards. So we'll only have like an hour, but I want to be able to actually actively work through, create our vision boards, whatever you want to do. Maybe it's just you like notebooking, like writing out and then creating later, but we're going to have a vision party so that we can kind of set our, draw the line in the sand before the next year starts and really have clear, actionable goals, action steps that you can take so that you can create that vision that you want for your life. So until next time. Oh, does anybody want to take a picture before we leave?